Good morning to you all. I acknowledge the presence of the Zimbabwe Catholic Bishops' Conference Vice President, His Grace Most Reverend Archbishop Robert Christopher Ndlovu, and my brother bishops here present, the Honourable Speaker of the Parliament of Zimbabwe, Advocate Jacob Francis Nyidamilono Mudenda in absentia, the Deputy President of Senate of Zimbabwe, Honourable Lieutenant General Retired Michael Nyambuya in absentia, the Chairperson of the Catholic Legislators, Honourable Senator Priska Mufumira, and your Executive, Honourable Members of Parliament here present, Heads of the ZCBC Commissions. In an era marked by profound political polarization and widespread cynicism towards public institutions, there is an urgent need to reclaim a vision of politics that transcends the mere acquisition and exercise of power. The Catholic intellectual and social tradition offers a robust and time-tested framework for such a renewal, presenting politics not as a necessary evil, but as a noble vocation of service. A vision that is anchored in the Scriptures and the foundational principles of the Catholic social teachings of the Church, CST. One that modern popes have in their teachings presented to us as the way of shaping our world. A vision whose ultimate motivation is anchored in the baptismal identity of the Christian faithful. Allow me to invite our meeting to a reflection that synthesizes the compass of the Catholic social teaching, the roadmap provided by papal encyclicals, and the mission as flowing from baptism. It is my hope that such an approach provides and illumines a transformative path towards a politics worthy of the baptized members of Christ's body. The compass, the foundational principles of the Catholic social teachings of the Church. The establishment of the Catholic political thought is built upon the bedrock of four interdependent principles, namely, 1, the dignity of the human person. 2, the principle of subsidiarity. 3, the principle of solidarity. And 4, the principle of the common good. These principles serve as a compass orienting all political action towards its proper end. The primary and foundational principle is the dignity of each human person. This principle is not a secular humanist invention, but one that is radically rooted in the Genesis revelation of the Imago Dei, that every human being, without exception, is created in the image and likeness of God. Genesis chapter 1, verse 27. Therefore, the whole of humanity shares the same origin and destiny. Human dignity is therefore inherent, inviolable, and universal. It is not a right granted by the state, which can be revoked, but a gift from the Creator that forms the basis of all inalienable rights and their corresponding duties. Consequently, any political project, policy, or institution must be judged by its efficacy in upholding this inherent dignity. Modern assaults on human dignity are manifold, including the structural indignity of poverty, the violence of war, the sin of discrimination, and the anthropological reduction of the human person to a mere consumer in a market-driven society. A just society, from this perspective, is one that systematically recognizes and protects the dignity of every person from the moment of conception to natural death. Human dignity is safeguarded and fostered through the twin principles of subsidiarity and solidarity. The two serve a necessary and creative tension. Subsidiarity is a principle of social organization that insists on the priority of the local. It holds that a higher body should not assume tasks which can be carried out efficiently by a lower, more local one. This protects individual freedoms and initiatives from being usurped by distant impersonal bureaucracies, and it champions the family, local communities, and civil societies as the primary agents of human action. It guarantees the full and active participation of people at their various levels. Simultaneously, solidarity corrects and curbs the advent of parochialism, as it affirms that we are all responsible for one another. It is the moral virtue that binds the human family together. This principle answers the ancient yet ever emerging question, am I my brother's keeper? With a resounding affirmation. Saint Pope John Paul II, a pivotal figure in articulating this concept, insisted that solidarity is not a feeling of vague compassion, but a firm and persevering determination to commit oneself to the common good. In an increasingly globalized world, this virtue demands concrete political action in areas of economic justice, migration, and ecological stewardship, recognizing that the fates of nations are inextricably linked. The end goal that subsidiarity and solidarity work to achieve is the common good. It is crucial to understand that the common good is not merely the aggregate sum total of individual private interests. Rather, it is defined as the sum total of social conditions which allow people, either as groups or as individuals, to reach their fulfillment more fully and more easily. Gaudium et Spes, number 26. It requires the establishment of peace, justice, access to essential resources and services like education, health care, and the opportunity for all to participate in public life. The common good finds its ultimate justification in human dignity. It is only realized when the social, economic, and political conditions allow for the dignity of every single person to be respected and enabled to flourish. A society that marginalizes the poor, the unborn, the migrant, or the elderly has by definition failed to serve the common good. So we have seen the compass, now we see the map, the development of political thought in modern papal teachings. The principles of the Catholic social teaching have been consistently applied and developed by the popes of the modern era, providing a detailed map for Catholic political engagement. Their teachings can be understood through three evolving yet complementary emphases. The first emphasis emerging with the social encyclicals of the industrial age framed politics as a moral and social duty. In Rerum Novarum, 1891, Pope Leo XIII confronted the injustices of capitalism and socialism alike, insisting that the state has a fundamental duty to protect workers, uphold the rights of families, and ensure a just wage. This tradition was continued by Pope Pius XI in Quadragesimo Anno 1931, who elaborated on the need for a social order that balanced capital and labour, and by Pope Pius XII, who amidst the turmoil of World War II and totalitarianism emphasized the non-negotiable nature of human rights and the role of a well-formed conscience in political life. In the second half of the 20th century, the focus expanded to articulate politics as service to the common good on a global level. Saint Pope John the 23rd in Pacem in Terrace, 1963, provided a comprehensive vision for a political order founded on the pillars of truth, justice, charity, and freedom. His successor, Saint Pope Paul VI, in Popularum Progressio, 1967, forcibly globalized this call, arguing that the political vocation demands a commitment to addressing radical global inequality and promoting the authentic, integral development of all peoples, which encompasses more than mere economic growth. Thirdly, a deep theological emphasis understands politics as a form of evangelization. Saint Pope John Paul II, particularly in Centesimus Annus 1991, argued that a free and virtuous political life cannot be sustained without a foundation in objective moral truth and a steadfast commitment to human dignity. Pope Benedict XVI, in Caritas in Veritate 2009, presented a profound synthesis that politics must integrate charity, caritas, with truth, veritas. For him, and I quote, "Politics without love is cold and calculating. Love without truth is sentimental and directionless." Most recently, Pope Francis, in Fratelli Tutti 2020, powerfully summarized this entire tradition by defining politics as one of the highest forms of charity, a noble vocation of service to the common good, wherein we encounter and serve Christ in the poor and marginalized. This teaching has found an echo in Pope Leo XIV's recent apostolic exhortation, the Legislators. The mission: living the baptismal vocation in the public square. For the Catholic believer, this rich tradition of Catholic social thought is not merely an intellectual framework, but a personal call to mission, a vocation that flows directly from the sacrament of baptism. Through baptism, a Christian is incorporated into Christ and shares in his threefold office as priest, prophet, and king. It is this baptismal character that is lived out explicitly in the political sphere. Consequently, for a Catholic, politics must be understood as a vocation, a specific call from God to cooperate in the work of creation and redemption, not merely a career or a path to personal influence. It is a distinct and demanding path to holiness. Our baptismal identity demands a tangible witness in public life. It is incarnated through the habitual practice of the cardinal virtues: prudence, justice, fortitude, and temperance. The prudence to discern the common good in complex situations. Justice to enact laws and policies that foster good relationships with God, with humanity, and with creation. The fortitude to withstand political pressure and public opinion for the sake of truth. And finally, the temperance to exercise power with moderation and for service, not for self-aggrandizement. This witness manifests as a clear rejection of corruption, a relentless commitment to transparency, and an unwavering urgency to defend the vulnerable, the unborn, the poor, the migrant, the elderly, and all those on the peripheries of society. Ultimately, this approach fosters a sacramental vision of politics. It calls the Christian to see the political realm not as a profane or hopelessly corrupt space, but as a field for grace and transformation. The task is not simply to win arguments or elections, but to infuse the temporal order with the love of Christ, and thereby participating in the great project that St. Pope John Paul II termed building a civilization of love. In conclusion, the Catholic tradition provides a coherent and compelling alternative to the cynicism and fragmentation of contemporary politics. By taking the dignity of the human person as its non-negotiable foundation, navigating social order through the complementary principles of subsidiarity and solidarity, and directing all action towards the authentic common good. It offers a true compass for political life. Illumined by the wisdom of papal teachings and animated by the grace of baptism, the Christian is called to engage in politics as a vocational service. Such politics bows before God, the source and summit of all human aspirations. He seeks to serve the human person, created in God's image and likeness, and puts humanity at the center. It is, in the final analysis, a politics worthy of our divine calling and worthy of the humanity it seeks to serve. Thank you very much.